Hi, everybody. This is Derek, Lucky Vitamin's Category Manager of Vitamins, Minerals, and Herbs. It's great to have so many people joining us today for the Lucky Vitamin Wellness Webinar, Healthy De-Stressing and Anti-Aging, presented by Organic India. Thank you all very much for attending. First, we're going to hear from Amy Keller, who is Organic India's Director of Education and Training. We were also lucky enough to have Amy visit the Lucky Vitamin corporate office for an in-house training. After Amy, we will meet Dr. James Rouse. Dr. Rouse is committed to inspiring everyone to imagine and achieve the vibrant, high-performance lives we all deserve. Through leading-edge ideas, practical life strategies, and superior products, Dr. Rouse's mission is to help guide all into a healthy lifestyle. His vision is a world in which everyone has the opportunity to thrive. James is a naturopathic doctor, entrepreneur, wellness magazine founder, motivational speaker and trainer, author, impassioned athlete, Ironman competitor, and devoted father and husband. And I feel pretty lazy right now. So before I turn things over to Amy, just a few quick reminders. This webinar is being recorded and will be emailed to you after its conclusion. If you have any questions during today's webinar, please enter them into the question box on your screen. At the end of the webinar, we will try to answer as many as possible. The promotion code will be given at the end of the presentation and will be available for 72 hours. Thank you all again, and I'm going to turn this over to the Organic India team now.
Hi, everyone. Can you see the screen now?
Yep, we're good. Yes.
Awesome. Okay. Thank you for the introduction, Derek, and thank you to Lucky Vitamins for having us as a guest today. We're really excited to be here. I'm Amy Keller, and I am a clinical nutritionist by trade. That's my background. I have always had a passion for healthy food, exercise, natural and alternative medicines, but more than that, I have a passion for people and the planet. And I'm really intrinsically connected to the mission and vision of Organic India. If it was just about me or supplements or tea, it just wouldn't get me there. But it's about we and us, and I'm really blessed to be a part of this company. And I'm very blessed today to have my good friend, Dr. James Rouse, here today to inspire us. So we ask you today, pencils down and minds open. We would love to see how much you can be today versus how much you can learn. But before I introduce it and hand it over to Dr. James, I want to tell you a little bit about Organic India and the secret sauce that makes us not just a supplement company, but a company that is pro-people and pro-Mother Earth, and we like to consider ourselves synergists. So again, that's a little bit about me. This is what we're going to talk about today. You all can read this screen and know what we're going to go over. But let me just start by telling you a little bit about Organic India and our mission and vision. So we are about regeneration. Our business is built on regeneration, and we build capacity through regeneration. We believe that sustainability at best maintains communities. But the regenerative agriculture heals the earth, leaving it a better place than when we found it. So our farming practices far exceed the practices of just organic. We treat each farm as a unique organism using comprehensive soil, fertility management, animal welfare, composting, crop protection. We use homeopathic preparations for soil health, and we promote the biological diversity in those farms and communities. But we're far beyond just regeneration in terms of the land. We also are regenerating communities, and it's a comprehensive long-term process that aims to tackle the social and economical and environmental issues that face these communities that we work with. Some of the areas that we work with in India are some of the most impoverished and overpopulated places in the world. And we treat each one of these communities with its own wealth of unique knowledge and expertise, and we work with the people there to meet the specific issues that they face. Something unique that we do is we empower and train and employ women and widows in a culture where gender equality is really atypical. And it's pretty amazing movement that's happening over there in terms of a social revolution. So the communities are taught gender sensitization, and the women and the widows are paid equal wages to men, which is really unheard of in these communities. Some of the corporate social responsibility programs we have are very diverse and in-depth. We have several healthcare facilities that allow access to these farmers and these communities to healthcare for issues like injury and illness, prenatal and well baby care, where there was no access to these types of services before. We also have healthcare educators that go to these communities and teach about basic hygiene, skin care, safe sex, and things that we maybe take for granted. But these healthcare educators are out there offering this type of access to these communities where, again, they didn't have access before. Some of the other programs that we do, we have job skills programs, which offer marketable skills to people to be able to make more income outside of their communities and outside of their homes. One of the programs we have is a stitchery project teaching young women how to sew. We also provide clean water to communities where the water has been virtually unavailable or not potable in any way. We have some programs that are installing toilets and septic systems into areas where it's also been unavailable, and those things, again, like we take for granted, are the unsafe and unhygienic conditions that exist when we don't have something as simple as access to toilets. We've provided solar panels to families. A lot of these communities are completely off the grid with no access to electricity in any way, which limits the ability for children to study once the sun sets and for families to do any sort of activities or have opportunities to work after the sun sets. So with just one moment, I'm going to hand it over to Dr. James, and you guys will all be so inspired with what he has to say. I hope you learned a little bit about Organic India that maybe you didn't know before, but without further ado, here is Dr. James Rouse.
Well, good morning, good afternoon. Hello, everybody. Derek, thanks for the opportunity and the blessing it is to be in your company today. I was wonderfully nervous this morning when I woke up thinking about how much I enjoy this, but also how much it means to me to have a chance to share ideas with a group such as yourself, people who are in this industry, people who are in this movement. I love to say people who are delusional ruckus makers. And I'm a delusional ruckus maker as much as I'm a science-based nerd, completely card-carrying, but I'm also a person who believes in the idea of how it is that we create the vision, the mission by how we show up every single day. And that's why I love Organic India, and I'm so privileged to work alongside of Amy and the whole team here, because I think there's a lot of delusional optimism that has to happen for us to be successful these days. There's so much about in life that people tell us, we can't do this, we can't do that, we can't think that big, we can't be that visionary, we can't be that optimistic. But as Amy said, as we kind of go into this curriculum, if you will, let us give ourselves permission to silence the critic. And I think for so many of us, we think, oh my gosh, I need to learn this, I have to be better at that. But today, and over these next few moments together, I just want you to be open to the possibility, because truly that's what I believe is what the best medicine comes through us, when our mind and our body are open to the possibility. And the diet for today is the possibilitarian diet, and I hope we are mainlining the ideas that we can actually take forth into the world, circulate into our families, circulate to our customers, circulate to strangers, and give ourselves permission to show up and actually lead through our example, because I'm a big believer right here and right now that the world doesn't need to hear another sermon, but it truly needs to see one. And I believe this is what we're creating today. This is a movement where we can actually be living the sermon of health and well-being and possibility and courage, of love, and of circulating all that goodness. So let's jump right in. And I believe the big question I want to ask you as we kind of go on to the first slide, Amy's going to help me because I'm wonderfully well-versed in ashwagandha, but terribly well-versed in technology. So Amy's going to help us. So who recognizes this wonderful picture? And I hope this you going, oh my God, it's me. That is totally how I look every single morning. I spring out of bed, I put on my cape, I put on my mask, I go brush my teeth. If you're that person, right on. I'm totally psyched for you. But if you're not that person, that's the kind of a vision of who you'd love to be. I don't think you're alone. I think there's a quiet epidemic in our country right now and frankly across the world where people subscribe and relate to this idea of being too tired to keep running and too scared to stop. And I think there's many reasons why people feel that way, and they've lost that sense of their superhero. They've lost that sense of possibility. And you start telling yourself a story about who you used to be or who you'd love to be, but it's not your present story. So today we're really going to help us reacquaint ourselves with the possibility and that story that we want to reclaim, the one that we want to be. And then when we know in our hearts, knowing is truly the identity that we want to show up with every single day, because we know that we serve when we can be that person as we reclaim our superhero. Next slide. So here's what's really cool. And as Amy said, I am one of those people who, probably much like you, I'm in this movement for many, many reasons. Number one, I didn't grow up in this movement. I didn't grow up eating granola. I didn't know what ashwagandha was until I went off to medical school. And I certainly didn't really understand the mind-body relationship, health and wellness when I grew up in a home where challenges were everywhere, and we were not that possibility type family. But what I'm learning about what chemistry wants us to do, chemistry wants us to align. And your neurochemistry, your physiology, your wonderful way of showing up every single day is very, very much related to how it is that you embrace the morning. And we're going to learn a couple cool things today that will help you to align with your innate chemistry, the chemistry that wants to be amazing, that wants to be highly energized, that wants to be well, that wants to get all the things that are hormonally in alignment with health and high-level well-being totally in the flow. And this is something that's so cool because whether you're a person who's working with customers, whether you're a person who's working by yourself, whether you're a person who's just trying to navigate every single day just a little bit better, you have to have the understanding that there's a possibility waiting inside of you, and it's your innate pharmacy that's just waiting to have the catalyst, which is your choices. And these choices will ignite the flow that we're going to talk about now. And this idea of flow, and if this is something that relates to you and you think about being highly focused, when you think about having genius ideas, when you think about being benevolent, being altruistic, having high character, having high integrity, this is what happens neurochemically when we go into flow. And what I love about the mornings, what I love about the research of morning people tend to be much more successful than non-morning people. They tend to know how to use their hormonal chemistry as an advantage, not as a disadvantage. And they tend to be people who have lateral thinking. And lateral thinking is really cool because you probably heard the expression, you need to think outside of the box if you want to create a life that's really well lived, if you want to be highly successful, if you want to really be a beneficial presence on the planet. Well, you know what? Lateral thinking, you can't even see the box. And that's what flow is all about. It's transcendent wisdom. It's the kind of wisdom that allows you to step into that rare air where you truly do have a sense of the possibility of your great big life when you have no censor, when you have no critic. And I don't have to remind you, if you've traveled anywhere across this country, across the world, I don't think you've ever seen a statue erected to a critic. They don't erect statues to critics. They erect them to people who are transcendent in their wisdom. And I believe what I love about these three products, and I'm a huge fan of Organic India for these products in particular, but all the products, I think you're going to love what Amy shared with you about the whole idea of sustainability, about the bigger why behind Organic India that transcends a supplement company. That's why I love this company. That's why I'd run through walls for this company. I'm a big believer in this trifecta, Tulsi, ashwagandha, and turmeric. And I'm sure you're wildly familiar with something called adaptogenic. And I like to say that adaptogenic herbs, which these three are, they're like personalized smart herbs. They go into your system and they find out what needs work, what needs support, what needs love, what needs caring, what needs to be simmered down, what needs channeling. And basically, Tulsi, ashwagandha, and turmeric have a fabulous job description. And that is meet the person where they are and help support them to where they want to go. So if you're a person with low energy, if you're a person who's looking for greater focus, greater resilience, all those types of opportunities, looking for an opportunity to help you channel and support natural pathways that control inflammation. These are what these herbs do for a living. Their job description is expansive, it's wildly wonderful, it's well scientifically documented, but ultimately it's highly personal. And what's interesting about the morning and why I think these three herbs are so fabulous for the morning, every one of us wakes up first thing in the morning and we have an opportunity to put something to work. And that something is cortisol. Now, cortisol is that thing that makes you, I'm not going to say When you take a red light and you make it personal, that's cortisol. When you find yourself finding in your inner language that you are putting yourself down, that you're finding fault, that you're craving a Hershey's bar the size of your calf before it's even 7 o'clock in the morning, that's what cortisol does for a living. Cortisol is a stress hormone that will make you age, it'll make you fat, it'll make you sad, it'll make you a less, how should we say, available self to what you want to be standing for every single day. And what I love about adaptogenic herbs, one of their primary jobs is to help give cortisol a job. Give it a place that can actually go and do good work for you, support energy, support circulation, but do not get in the way of vitality, health, and wellness. And these 3 herbs are adaptogenic in the sense they meet you where you are and they help you to get to where you want to go. So what's beautiful about this, cortisol is interesting for many reasons, because typically first thing in the morning, if you think about your life, you think, you know what, first thing in the morning, I get up and I read the newspaper. So we already have high cortisol first thing in the morning. If you want to lean into a punch of high cortisol, go ahead and sit and read bad news or turn on the television. Or if you want to do something fabulous with cortisol, move. The beautiful thing about using things like ashwagandha, using things like tulsi, holy basil, using turmeric, it helps give cortisol a job to actually be circulating versus marinating. And if you can channel your cortisol, you can actually help augment your metabolism, your mental and emotional well-being, and along with what's beautiful about cortisol too, if it has a home to go to, it can actually help be a super support system to a phenomenal exercise opportunity. And this is what I love to talk to people about more than anything, is that every single day you wake up with an opportunity. And if you're thinking to yourself, my gosh, he doesn't know what my life is like. I've got kids, I've got a job, I've got stuff, I'm not sleeping well. Well, here's the beautiful opportunity for yourself. This is a reset button. When I think of adaptogenic herbs, when I think of tulsi, which is called the incomparable one, and it's named for that because thousands of years of really looking at how it is that the most resilient of people, the most courageous of people, the most confident in physiology are the folks who know how to give cortisol a job, know how to really augment our natural chemistry so it can give us that transcendent wisdom, so it can give us that kind of energy, so it can help us to really be confident and show up and be the people that we came here to be. And this whole idea of flow is a kind of a synergistic or complementary approach to how it is that turmeric, tulsi, and ashwagandha, they have a wonderful job description. And this is a way that you can actually align with those 3 products and those 3 super-powered adaptogenics to give you the experience of flow. Number 1, first thing in the morning, here's a wonderful strategy. Before you do anything, give yourself permission to set an intention. Studies show that the front of your lobe, if you will, the front cortex of your brain, needs to be in charge. And if she can say to your motor cortex, which is like your COO, hey, you know what? I have a vision for my day. I know who I want to be. I know how I want to show up. Here's what's gorgeous about that. Studies show that that actually augments your optimism. At the same time, it lowers your cortisol. So simply taking just a few moments before you get out of bed and setting an intention, seeing your mission for your life, giving yourself the possibility, opportunity to see it, to be it, literally helps cortisol to have a job to do, keeps yourself from marinating in it, and then the fun begins. I love to say that movement is the opportunity that all of us have, and I believe that exercise should only happen on the days that you eat. So if you're one of those people who says, you know what, I love an option, you have an option. If you're not planning on eating, then don't worry about actually exercising that day. So there you have an out, which is beautiful. And what's really cool about movement, all motion creates positive emotion. Think about that. When you're in a stressful place, if you walk, what happens when you walk? Here's what's so cool about the idea of movement. It actually ignites a pharmacy. And you have this beautiful blessing in your brain. It's called neurochemistry, and particularly something called neurotransmitters. Wonderful Scrabble word. If you lay down neurotransmitters, the game is over. But what's beautiful about this, courage, confidence, and conviction is what is released when we move first thing in the morning. And why that happens, and why I love turmeric, and why I love tulsi, and I love ashwagandha, these actually are synergists to your morning. When cortisol levels are high, you want to do what you can with adaptogenic support to actually help cortisol have a job to do that's bigger, and if you will, and not about stress, but more about giving you energy, and actually in alignment with your natural neurochemistry. A great example of this is ashwagandha, which is one of my favorite herbs under the sun. And what ashwagandha does and has this natural opportunity to do, it actually enhances the receptor sites of something called GABA and serotonin. So when you have that opportunity moving for you, think about what's happening here with courage, confidence, and conviction. Why I love taking adaptogenic herbs first thing in the morning, it actually aligns with practices of self-care and self-love. You have that going in terms of your movement, then you also have an opportunity to use supplemental support to actually help to take it to the next level. You follow your movement with meditation. And what's beautiful about meditation, we're going to talk about aging healthfully here in a moment. Meditation is one of the things that we can do, and simply put, simply 11 hours over a lifetime, just 11 hours of mindfulness, prayer, meditation, can literally change the gray matter, literally improve and increase the structure of your brain. You can grow a bigger brain under the influence of meditation. And again, what's beautiful about this too is a synergistic opportunity to lower cortisol. At the same time, build something called brain-derived neurotropic factor, which simply means it's a fertilizer for growing a bigger brain. When you sit mindfully, when you meditate, when you pray, when you do these experiences of mindfulness, movement, and meditation, and then you follow it with a meal, it could be something, it could be a muesli, it could be protein, it could be eggs, it could be kale, it could be whatever you do, but make sure you finish this 3 experiences of mindfulness, movement, and meditation with a really good breakfast. One of the beautiful things I've learned about breakfast, this is something if anyone here has had, I'm in my early 50s, and the thing I'm always hearing people talk about is, what's interesting? My metabolism sometime around 10 years ago decided to go south. And here I am at age 50, I'm in the halftime of my life, and I'm wondering, what happened to my fat burning capacity? Well, the number one driver for keeping our bodies lean and strong and anti-inflammatory is to actually eat a breakfast. The National Weight Loss Registry has actually been chronicling the people who've had successful weight loss for over 30 years of at least 30 pounds. Guess what the number one reason for it is? It's eating breakfast. So these 4 pieces of an opportunity called flow, I'd love to say this, the M4. Give yourself permission tomorrow morning. Start with what you can do. Take one of those 4, whether it be mindfulness, whether it be meditation, whether it's just eating breakfast, and have a win. Here's the thing that's so interesting is that so many people out there have a life list, and there's 36 things on that life list, and they're nowhere close to the top. Give yourself permission to be close to the top, if not number 1. Remember, your self-care and your self-love is social activism. And if you start with yourself, you're going to find that everything around you the rest of the day improves. Your energy level, your outlook, your optimism, you start to become an anti-inflammatory superhero. And that's how we age healthfully. That's how our systems will thrive. That's how our mental, emotional well-being will really, really be in a place where we're optimized. So this exercise idea, and this is interesting, this is actually me, it's amazing how much I look like Einstein. It's crazy. But what's beautiful about this picture, I took this literally this morning. Amy came by and said, we got to make sure the guys can see what you look like. What's fun about this picture is that you have an opportunity to shift your game chemistry-wise and really, really ignite a revolution of anti-aging, healthy living, vitality, or just unleash your genius. And it's all chemistry. It's all your physiology. And here's what's beautiful. You, every single day, have choices to make. And one of the primary decisions is whether or not I'm actually going to reach into that level of genius. Am I going to be a person who just shows up and I'm excellent? And excellent is cool. Excellence kind of mediocre, too. If you know there's another level beyond that, which is your genius level, the place where you actually seek to be uncomfortable, where you seek to be inconvenienced because you're willing to stretch yourself. The sweaty genius is amazing because it literally shifts all the hormones that create this kind of experience of a high level of well-being, a high level of vitality. And what I really, really encourage you to consider is how it is using the trifecta of the turmeric, the ashwagandha, and the tulsi as part of the morning regimen to help align with the practices of self-care. Because what's really going to happen for you is you're going to see that, oh my goodness, what I thought was a conspiracy physiologically is actually my opportunity. I get a chance to wake up the engine and feed it and actually take my life to the next level. And along with that, your neurochemistry, and this is what I love to say, the onslaught of awesome. These are all wonderful Scrabble words. What they simply mean is norepinephrine is like a focus. It's like you're learning. It's where you become a genius. You are seeking ways to up-level your IQ and your grit and how you absolutely start to internalize and really take ideas and move them into action. Dopamine is all about your ability to be courageous. It's Ananda mead, you probably recognize the root Ananda. It's a Sanskrit word for bliss. And this is your bliss hormones, your bliss chemical. And it's released through this experience of flow. When you wake up and set your mission, when you decide to move, when you follow that with meditation, and you end with a strong meal for breakfast, you absolutely increase these 4 amazing opportunities to up-level confidence, focus, your discipline, your happiness, and your overall awareness to actually go out and create the life you came here for. Serotonin being the one that's the happy hormone. And yes, what's beautiful about serotonin, it's wonderfully dogmatic. It's incredibly teachable. You can teach yourself every single morning how to bring serotonin into your world. The side effects of flow, number 1, you'll silence the critic. There's a part of your brain, you've probably heard of it. It's called the amygdala. And the amygdala is your prehistoric, that reptilian brain. It's a part of you that wants to keep you safe, which is beautiful, but also wants to help you play small. It doesn't want you to risk. It doesn't want you to go out there and create a great big life. It wants you to settle for less than. So when you're in flow, you silence the amygdala so you can have great big ideas. It helps to enlist something called the creative, courageous thinker. That's that lateral thinking. You can't even see the box. Your possibilitarianism comes in. You start to see ideas. You start to see your possibility. You see the idea of you coming fully into a state of being where you literally become the game changer. And more importantly, you become a game changer who becomes a catalyst for everyone around you, whether it's a coworker, your children, a lover, a friend, a stranger. What's beautiful about these experiences of flow, they're incredibly contagious. You become a change agent. You become the person who starts to rock the world. You are a bodhisattva dressed as a ninja. And what bodhisattvas do for a living, they've got it going on. They're very cool. They're totally hot. They're very sexy, but they're also incredibly spiritual. And what they believe is that they're not supposed to move on to heaven. They're supposed to be the good people who hold the ladder for everybody else. They're the ones whose egos are not part of their world. They are all about service. They're all about giving people the opportunity to see their greatness by showing up and being great themselves and letting that be the contagious force. These are the side effects of a great big morning. You may say to yourself, gosh, you know what? Again, I don't even know where to begin. Well, that's what I love about this experience of Organic India. We're not a supplement company. Because if you just want to go out and find turmeric, there's turmeric everywhere. And here's one of the things I absolutely know through over 20 years of clinical experience and treating over 10,000 patients. When you make a connection with your supplement that's bigger than you, there's something called an intrinsic lever of motivation. And that's when you do something for a reason bigger than yourself. I think turmeric is amazing. I love the antioxidant properties. I love the phenomenal qualities of anti-inflammatory support they offer to help give your body a chance to have a healthy response to inflammation. Chronic inflammation drives aging. Chronic inflammation drives unhappiness. But if you're looking at a space where you're thinking, well, is all turmeric created equal? Many turmerics have high quality. They all, if they have high quality, have something called curcuminoids, which are the driver, the functional driver, what gives turmeric its awesome opportunity to serve a healthy inflammatory response. But beyond that, I want you to take this to heart. When you take a supplement and you think to yourself, what's this about? Ask yourself that great big question. Why do I choose a certain product? Is there something bigger than me going on here? As you heard from Amy, and you'll know from the Organic India team, there's a much bigger reason about what Organic India is really up to. There's a covert mission here. It's much bigger than just putting wonderful supplements in a bottle. It's about changing lives, not just physiologically, not about your life only. When you are part of a sustainable circle of love, you're part of a sustainable circle of service. When you take a turmeric, you take an ashwagandha that has a relationship, something bigger than yourself, that's where magic happens. And that's what we really want to be standing for. And what I know about watching my experiences of patients over the years, the ones who are really on fire with purpose are the ones who really understand the idea that you are alive to the degree that you serve. When you serve yourself a great supplement, ask yourself that simple question, is something bigger going on here when I actually use this product? Am I supporting something bigger than just myself? And with Organic India, you certainly are supporting something much bigger than yourself. So this is a great picture for skincare. And I would go on another beautiful story about turmeric and ashwagandha and anti-aging of the skin. But you know what's beautiful? We all tend to think about anti-aging as a beauty thing. But it's much deeper than that, because when you think about what makes skin age, It's what's going on underneath the skin. It's the inflammation. And that's why adaptogenic herbs are so awesome. They literally help your body have an appropriate response to healthy aging. They don't fight aging. They align with the idea of how we have a healthy response to aging so we can be beautiful like that pug. And here's something I want you to know that's such an incredibly important, cool thing that you can start doing literally right now. This is this whole idea of telomeres. And I think of telomeres as they're an index for how your cells will age. And the longer your telomeres, the longer your life, the longer your health and vitality. So you want to do all you can to protect them. And basically what a telomere is, it's like a bumper in front of the car being the DNA and the telomere being the bumper. And the thicker that bumper, the more can protect the DNA. So how do you actually grow a telomere, make it thicker, make it stronger, make it longer so you can live longer and stronger? Here are some absolute science-based approaches to living longer and stronger, and they're all totally fun. These are easy ones, they're beautiful, and they're easy to make happen literally starting today. So if you're just waking up right now from this presentation, you're going to find that you're just in a deep meditation. That's beautiful. Meditation is one of the greatest ways that we can literally grow our telomeres. Number 2, vitamin D, vitamin D3. Keep your vitamin D3 status strong. Make sure you're really keeping that piece. Every year when you have your physical, have your physician make sure she is checking your D status. Number 3, glutathione. In fact, what's beautiful about glutathione, studies show the people who actually made it to 100 years old and didn't just make it, they literally crushed 100. They were highly vital. They were strong. They were cognitively awake. They were physically gifted still at 100 years old. Across the board, the ones that were the strongest were the ones that had the highest level of blood glutathione. And how do you build that? It's wonderfully simple. It's about things like avocados, kale, broccoli, collards, all the Brussels sprouts you can eat. Those are ways of building your glutathione. Healthy fats from omega-3s, nuts, seeds, wild fish, green tea, cacao. Make sure if you're going to go over dark chocolate, start with 70%. But if you want to be varsity, definitely go to 75%. Or if you don't really mind a little bitter hit, shoot for an 85% dark chocolate. Here's a great little side effect. In the afternoon, just after 1 o'clock, there's a little window. It's called the cortisol bump window, where typically cortisol levels want to kind of start aging again and actually kind of get you stressed and keep you small and keep you from being amazing. Have 35 grams, roughly the size of the palm of your hand, of a nice 80% dark chocolate, and you will literally take cortisol out to lunch, and you'll be much more focused. You'll build your anatomy, and you'll be blissing out, and you're going to be a ninja all afternoon. Use cinnamon. As I said before, turmeric is a wonderful strategy for helping to augment the health of your telomeres. Ginger, and yes, vigorous exercise. Vigorous means that sweaty genius. It's all about high intensity. It's about moving fast, about shifting things up. It's really all about the idea of firing the chronic adult that says, I'm going to go and work out on a machine, I'm going to go walk on that treadmill. That's okay, but if you want to have vigorous telomere experiences, go outside and move. Every great study on the greatest exercises and the greatest benefit, the greatest ROI from your movement is happening when you're doing something that's fun. And the greatest study that was ever done in exercise out of the University of Michigan said the number one way that we keep ourselves motivated to exercise the rest of our life is to equate it with having fun. Not with weight loss, not with looking hot, not with doing anything regardless of the things we typically hang our hats on. It's all about having fun. So if you're not having fun on your treadmill, get outside and get in the woods and have fun, because that's what keeps us moving. And I love Tulsi and ashwagandha, the ideas that we studied more earlier, and that is the idea that cortisol, and it's not just cortisol, it's cortisol and all her cousins, will drive us to age. And this is the kind of thing that we have absolute control over. You have to give yourself permission to be proactive. And what's really amazing is that this idea of how it is that things like holy basil, the tulsi, the turmeric, and the ashwagandha, why I clinically believe in them, and every patient I've ever worked with has used these products, because I know that this is the way that we can literally help to eliminate some of the things that we feel like we can't control. Most importantly, cortisol is insidious. Aging unhealthily is completely insidious. So we have to give ourselves permission to be proactive in our self-love and our self-care. And these 3 adaptogenic herbs are, if you will, a way of giving yourself the possibility physiologically, so emotionally and spiritually you can show up and live the best life you want to. And at night, one of the most powerful ways and practices I've seen that you can literally give yourself permission to rewrite your script for aging, to rewrite the way that you show up the following morning. Because sleep is one of the most powerful elixirs for healthy aging, for healthy telomeres, for giving the adaptogenic herbs a fighting chance to really work synergistically with a lifestyle. It's all about that integrity and that kind of character. These 5 questions are something I've been practicing over the last 2 decades. I do these every single night before bedtime, and I really encourage you strongly. I know everyone's tired at night, and the last thing they want to do is be intentional about something that makes them think anymore. But think with your heart with this. This is not about your mind. It's not about you having to do one more task. This is your heart having an opportunity to really ponder what it is to have a life well lived. The 5 questions are simple. You ask yourself, who did I help today? Did I move closer to my big goal? You need to have a great big goal for your life, your why, what gets you up in the morning, what makes you want to take care of yourself, what makes you want to serve others, what makes you want to step into that rare air where you are world class in your example of living and expressing the highest vibration of yourself. Number 3, did I live and act in complete integrity? Was I in full alignment with what I know I have to be to feel at peace with myself and feel the possibility and potential that I want to be living from? What did I learn? And lastly, how can I take the answers to these 4 questions and what can I do to serve greater tomorrow? Remember, one of the most powerful studies I've ever seen on aging healthfully, the people who age very well, the ones who are happy along the path, whether you're 25 or 55, we're all aging. But the beautiful distinction in this is the one that's most important to understand. Optimism about who you are, about where you're going, is one of the greatest anti-inflammatory practices we can bring to our life. And these 5 questions, if you live in alignment with these and you answer these honestly, and then you strive, if you will, to be open to using the learnings, you'll be amazed what they can do in terms of how it'll help you to navigate the next day and the following day. Because while we're in the Earth School, this is our opportunity. And the best study that we can see is the study of happiness, which is the currency of life. Are you happier as you go? Do you take what you're learning, you take it to heart? Are you willing to take that 12-inch journey between your brain and your heart every single day and serve greater still? Because if you serve yourself first and you nourish and really give yourself the permission to show up and be who you came here to be, happiness will be the wonderful side effect. And as part of that evening unwind, try to do your best to eat earlier rather than later. I also say along with that, have a digital sunset, media fasting. Shut the TV down, put your phone in a box, put the box under your bed, padlock the box, never go to the box. Do what you can to steer clear of your phone at night, unless you have to have it close by. But we need to give ourselves permission to disconnect. Put a bookend between the side of you that's the human doing, and at night become the human being. Give yourself permission to have a habitual bedtime. One of the greatest practices we can do to sleep well is to have a practice of going to bed the same time. It's what gives your chemistry a familiarity, know when to produce the melatonin, know when to start really putting your guard down, know when to become a parasympathetic person, which is a part of our nervous system. It's all about presence and peace and really being in a place where we can literally put our guard down and become the person we need to be at night, full recovery, full rejuvenation, so the following morning we can get up and do our life in a great big way. Connection with tribe, connect with your children, connect with someone you love, connect with yourself, and have a spiritual practice. And I have to tell you that I like to bookend my day. First thing in the morning, Tulsi, holy basil, ashwagandha, absolutely turmeric. Those 3 adaptogenic herbs are part of my morning, and yes, they're part of my evening. I sandwich those. I have my 2 doses each and every day, 1 in the morning and 1 at night, because the whole idea of that cortisol cycle and giving yourself permission to help your body adjust to and have a positive alignment with the natural inflammatory response that's always happening, irregardless of whether or not you even realize it's happening. But if you want to give yourself permission physiologically, biochemically, neurologically, and spiritually to align with healthy aging practices, this is a simple strategy, a wonderfully science-based intervention that can help your body respond to the day's stress, respond to living your great big life, and help you navigate in such a way that tomorrow morning you can wake up and be who you came here to be. So 5 steps. Here's what's awesome. Here's how you can actually get things going. Choose one of these. Just choose one of these starting this afternoon. Write it down. Put it someplace where you're going to see it. Remind yourself of who you came here to be and what you want to be standing for. Number one, we talked about this when we talked about the flow. Have a mission first thing in the morning. The Tibetan Buddhists have a practice that's called Penba Tang, which basically means to see the target of your life. Where do you want to be? What do you want to be standing for? What do you want your life to be outpicturing? That idea all by itself is anti-inflammatory. That idea by itself will help you guide you in a space where optimism will grow. Stanford tells us that envisioning the ideal life that we want for ourselves is a wonderful anti-aging strategy, but it's also a powerful way to lower inflammation. Exercise only on the days that you eat. So what's cool about that, I'm a big believer that the paradox of choice is what paralyzes so many of us. You feel yourself, you know what, maybe I'm going to exercise tomorrow, maybe I'm not, maybe I'll do it in the afternoon, maybe I'll do it in the morning, I'm not sure if I'm going to exercise. But if we say, you know what, movement is a non-negotiable, and I always move between 5 and 7 in the morning, no questions asked, you're going to gain happiness, you're going to have a linchpin habit that's going to be a catalyst for all kinds of great things in your life. And yes, you're going to take cortisol and put it where it wants to be as an energy source, not an inflammatory source. You're going to move with it, not marinate in it. Number 3, claim your inner firefighter. And that's all about the holy basil. Tulsi, the incomparable one. That's been thousands of years to earn a title as the incomparable one. It's the foundation for health and well-being. It's vital to your firefighting opportunity. Turmeric, one of the most well-researched herbs under the sun over the last decade. It is literally one of the things that UCLA spends most of its time in the area of looking at brain health and mind-body wellness. Think about what that can offer you. But again, come back to the idea of having a strategy that's a lifestyle strategy, a supplement strategy where your confidence and your self-efficacy can really make manifest. And along with it, ashwagandha. Ashwagandha contains tryptophan. Tryptophan is an amino acid that actually helps you build serotonin. Remember, it actually helps to augment the way that your body can receive. The receptor sites are actually encouraged when it comes to things like GABA, when it comes to things like serotonin. This is all about your brain chemistry, getting a chance to really, really be happy, to be relaxed, to be balanced, to be whole. And yes, the inner firefighter is you releasing it as a way that you actually show up every single day and nourish it with adaptogenic herbs. You hire your coach, you fire your critic. This afternoon, you're going to say, oh my gosh, I learned a bunch of hopefully cool things. I'm in a place where I'm thinking I got many things I could do. What's the one thing I'm going to do? And then you're going to have what is classic for everyone. You're going to have your great big butt show up. Your great big butt is going to be like, oh, you know what? You've tried this before and you failed. You did this and you know what? It didn't work. So your butt is the thing that says, I'm going to keep you small. I don't want you to be disappointed. I want you to be the person who's always just who you are. You're neat. You're convenient. But you know what? That is not what we're here to do. Neat and convenient stinks. We need to create a ruckus. We need to show up every single day and give ourselves permission to become what we came here to be. And I believe if you're on this call, if you're part of LuckyVitamin, if you're part of the extended community of LuckyVitamin, then you are here to create a ruckus by being the example of the possibility. You need to fire your critic. You need to hire and love your coach. And how you love your coach is being self-efficacious. Self-efficacious is simply just taking one of these strategies and owning it, loving it like your life depended on it. And then number 5, be grateful. Grateful for showing up today. Be grateful for showing up this afternoon. And before you go to bed at night, give yourself permission to hold in consciousness what you tend to be tomorrow morning. Hold that vision and fall asleep under the influence of that high possibility, because you'll wake up with your love light shining and you will be unstoppable. You will be the, how should we say, the human embodiment of the incomparable one. You'll be a walking Tulsi. And how cool would that be? So I believe that is our call to action. Gosh, you know what? I hope you're still with us, and I know we're going to take some questions now. And I just want you to know what an honor it was to have a few moments this afternoon. I just love and appreciate Amy for all she does. Derek, I appreciate you for gathering the tribe around us today, and the whole Organic India team. We're just feel blessed and most fortunate to be a part of your circle and to be in your atmosphere. It's a great honor for us. So thank you so much.
Thank you. That was really inspiring, and there was a lot of great stuff there. And I really appreciate your energy and bringing it and sharing it with us. So we do have some questions. Let's get right into them. First question is holy basil better absorbed in tea form or a capsule form?
Well, I think that anytime you can drink your medicine or eat your medicine, it's more effective. But there's also the theory or the idea around the ritual of making a cup of tea. You know, you're boiling the water, you're steeping the tulsi, you're getting the aromatherapy from it while it's steeping, and just that ritual can decrease stress levels by consuming it in the tea form. It's very effective in the capsule form as well, but I prefer it in the tea form, and that's why it is so popular in the tea form.
All right. Thanks, Amy. Next question. What's the difference between turmeric and curcumin?
Well, you know what? They're pretty darn close to each other in the sense that turmeric is, I like to say, it's the way we commonly refer to the product itself. Curcumin is the active constituent within turmeric. So the curcuminoids is how we typically will measure the volatility and the power of the turmeric. So when you're looking at your turmeric, you just want to make sure that it contains curcuminoids. And curcuminoids are, how should we say, that's the functional element within the turmeric. So they're both sort of one and the same, but it really comes down to your turmeric is only as powerful as your curcuminoid content.
All right. Well, thank you. Here's a question. Is meditation something that can only be done while sitting still?
Oh, my God. If it was, I'd be totally lost. You know, the beautiful thing about meditation, in fact, Derek, I love that question for many reasons. I was reading a study over the weekend. It was called the walking meditation phenomenon. In fact, studies show that walking outdoors while you're just walking quietly, not listening to things, not talking to anyone, is actually a more powerful stress reliever than sitting in lotus position indoors. So walking in a garden, walking in the woods, walking on a sidewalk, but just walking silently is actually more powerful than sitting. So for someone like myself, who's completely over the moon when it comes to energy, I don't like to sit long, it makes me crazy, this is an opportunity for all of us. We can meditate all day long.
All right. This is an interesting question. I've actually never heard this before. A customer says, I've heard recently about gluten being in the actual tea bags, or are your tea bags gluten-free? Never heard that before.
Our tea bags are gluten-free.
Okay. Another question. Are there any potential interactions between Tulsi, ashwagandha, and prescription SSRI?
That's a great question. And, you know, we certainly aren't here to diagnose, treat, or do any sort of healing or curing with this presentation today. And, you know, it's interesting. Ashwagandha, as we talked about earlier, does have a support system. One of the support systems is to actually help to encourage the receptor sites for both serotonin and GABA. So there's a wonderful part that actually helps to augment this idea of healthy mind-body vitality. But you know how, Derek, I'd answer this is I'd say, number one, if you're taking an SSRI, if you're being treated for depression or anxiety disorder, I always say speak with your physician, let them know what you're up to. They may not be up on the research, and that's something we can help you with, but what I've seen in my experience clinically is that people do very, very well. The safety and efficacy of all three of these herbs is phenomenal. But if you are being treated for a certain condition, or if you are taking any type of prescription, before you begin any kind of product, always check with your physician, make you guys are the same page, and then you can decide from there.
All right, good answer. How much turmeric should I be taking every day?
Picture a large dump truck backing up to a capsule the size of a house. No, I'm just kidding. You know what? I'm a big believer. With Organic India, that's 500 milligrams. What are these? They're 400. I take 4 a day. And what I also recommend too, and this is just kind of a little thing you can do alongside of it, I always like to take turmeric alongside of an omega-3 or a coconut oil. In fact, what I tend to do is I'll take a healthy tablespoon of coconut oil. I'll take my 2 morning turmeric capsules with my coconut oil with a dash of black pepper, Derek, and I do the same thing at night. Take my coconut oil, a dash of black pepper with my 2 capsules of turmeric. So I'm taking 4 a day, which is roughly, that's about 1,600 milligrams total a day. But you can take, actually, most of the studies have been out there somewhere in the neighborhood of 600 to 800. Just 2 capsules a day would be perfect. But I tend to be a little overzealous. I'm a big fan of turmeric.
Great, thank you. I do know the answer to this question, but a customer is asking if your products are GMP certified.
Yes, all of the products are GMP certified. Actually, it's my understanding that all supplement companies have to be GMP certified. It's just that they don't necessarily advertise that fact anymore.
Right.
And just back to the gluten question, just because I was so short on it. If someone is very concerned and they're using another tea brand or anything, it's always an opportunity for you to, open the tea bags or use loose leaf teas in lieu of using the tea bag. I know people have a lot of different concerns about tea bags for different reasons, so you can always use the loose leaf in a diffuser if you have any questions or concerns about lots of different things that are going on in the media about tea bags and such.
Okay, great, thank you. Dr. James, you were talking a lot about certain values and principles. How do we instill these values and principles in children who may not necessarily understand them?
That's a beautiful question. Derek, I take that deeply to heart. I have 2 teenage daughters, and the last thing they want to hear from me is talking about meditation or gratitude journaling at night. But I guess what I've learned as a father, and I saw the pediatric practice for years, children totally connect with the visual cue. And if you're a visual cue as an adult of happiness, of integrity, of kindness, generosity, and they actually start to connect with what you tend to be doing all day long with those kinds of experiences they feel, you'll never have to mention them once about a practice of meditation. You'll never have to convince them that turmeric's a good idea. Children, I think, are wonderfully susceptible. We have these things called mirror neurons, which are literally our neurological copycat system. But here's what's really amazing. Studies show that we tend to only copy what is altruistic, what is real, and what is in high integrity. So if you see your kids starting to emulate you because you're holding those values, you are being a wonderful service as a parent. People don't want to hear about it, but I love to see it.
Thank you very much. Someone is asking, are any of your herbs not sourced in India?
No, all of our herbs are sourced in India in all of our herbal supplements. So we are a seed-to-shelf company, and we're very proud of the fact that you saw some pictures of some of our farmers and some of the people that we work with. So our herbs are really grown in a temple-like environment, and we're very blessed because we have the ability to be as close to the source of the actual live plant that you can be. Eating fresh spinach is the best thing to do, but the next best thing is eating dried spinach that has come directly from the field and been processed in the right way to maintain its its vitality and its dynamics in your body.
Okay, great. Well, thank you very much. We are out of time, so we're going to start wrapping this up now. I want to thank all of our awesome customers for attending, and I would also, of course, love to thank Amy, Dr. Rouse, and just everybody at Organic India for being such a great partner with us. We really have a strong relationship with you guys, and it really shows in the way this webinar went, so I really do appreciate that. Everybody else, if you've not already done so, please register for our upcoming webinars. For more information, please visit LuckyVitamin.com and search keyword webinar. Please see the screen for the exclusive promo code. Reminder, this code is active now and will be active for the next 72 hours. Thank you all again, and have a great day.
Thank you.